Surprisingly, over 90% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button. It motivates us to keep creating and helps us never miss an upload. And you'll never miss a story again. They say you know when you've found the one. That quiet certainty, the way your heart rests a little easier. For me, that was Emily. She wasn't flashy or loud. She had a quiet strength, the kind of calm you crave after a long day. We met at a coffee shop, both waiting for our drinks, and I made a dumb joke about the barista spelling my name wrong. She laughed, not the polite kind, but a real one. That laugh stuck with me. A week later, we were on our first date. A year later, I asked her to marry me. She said yes with tears in her eyes. For a while, everything was golden. We had our routines, movie nights on Fridays, brunch on Sundays. We'd cook dinner together, dance to music while chopping vegetables, laugh over spilled wine. Her job at the marketing firm kept her busy, but she always made time for me, or at least she used to. It started with small changes. A text here, a late night there, just one more client call. Sorry, babe, I'll be home soon. I trusted her. I didn't question the hours, the missed dinners. We were building a life. These things happened, right? But the late nights turned into weekends. She started going on team retreats, these sudden overnight stays with little notice. When I asked, she'd smile, brush her hair behind her ear, and say, "It's just work, babe. You know how it is." I tried to believe her. I really did. One weekend, she said she was going to a cabin retreat with her team. No cell service. "We all need to unplug sometimes," she said, throwing a duffel bag over her shoulder. She kissed my cheek and promised to call me Sunday night. I smiled and nodded, even as something in my chest pulled tight. Saturday afternoon, it stormed. Hard. I was watching the news when a report came in about a lightning strike near a lakeside cabin, injuring 2 people. Something about the name of the cabin caught my attention. I knew it. Emily had mentioned it in passing a few weeks ago. My stomach turned. I tried her phone, straight to voicemail. By evening, my nerves were frayed. I called her friend Mia, someone who worked with her. "Hey, just checking if Emily's okay," I said. There was a pause. "Emily? Yeah, she's on that cabin retreat, right?" Another pause, longer this time. "Oh, she didn't go with the team. She took a personal day. Said she needed rest." That was the moment. The second my world cracked. I hung up before Mia could say more. I didn't want more. I didn't want anything. By midnight, I was in my car, driving toward that cabin in the storm. The roads were slick, the wind howled, but I kept going. My thoughts ran faster than the rain on the windshield. When I reached the area, emergency vehicles were still there. I asked a paramedic if someone named Emily had been hurt. She nodded and pointed to the ambulance. "She's okay. Minor burns, some shock. Lucky, really." I walked over. And there she was, sitting on a stretcher, wrapped in a blanket. But she wasn't alone. A man sat beside her, holding her hand. Not just holding, it was intimate, comforting, like they'd done this before. I froze. Her eyes met mine, her face drained of color. "Jake?" she whispered. The man turned, late 30s, dressed in soaked slacks. He looked like someone from an office, clean-cut, polished. He had his hand on her thigh. "Who is he?" I asked. My voice barely held steady. Emily stood too quickly, wobbling. The paramedics tried to stop her, but she waved them off. "Jake, please, let me explain." I didn't want to hear it. Not there. Not with her hair wet and clinging to her face. Not with that man standing between us like a wall. "Is he your coworker?" I asked. She hesitated. "Yes, his name is Mark." Mark. The name hit like a hammer. "And you're what, dating now?" "No," she said quickly, too quickly. "It's not like that. It just happened." I turned away. I couldn't breathe. She tried to grab my arm. "Please don't go. It was a mistake." "A mistake?" I echoed. "You lied to me. For how long?" She said nothing. Her silence told me everything. I left her there, standing in the rain, her hand outstretched as paramedics tried to guide her back inside. I don't remember the drive home. I don't remember getting into bed. I just remember the ache, deep in my chest, like something had been carved out and replaced with glass. The next few days were a blur. She called, texted. I didn't answer. I didn't want her apologies, her explanations. I wanted the truth, but I already had it. She showed up at my place 4 days later. She looked tired, pale. Her hand was bandaged from the lightning burns. "Can I come in?" she asked. I let her in because part of me needed closure, needed to look her in the eye and understand how love could rot so quietly. She sat on the couch. I stayed standing. "How long?" I asked. She swallowed. 3 months. 3 months? I nodded, jaw clenched. It wasn't supposed to happen. We were working late, and he listened. I felt seen. "I saw you," I snapped. "Every day. I loved you. I planned a life with you." "I know," she whispered. "I was scared. It got too real." I laughed, bitter, hollow. "So cheating was easier?" Tears ran down her face. "I don't know why I did it. Maybe I panicked. Maybe I'm broken." I stared at her. "Don't make this about you." She looked down, ashamed. "I would have given you everything," I said. "And you gave me lies." I didn't throw things. I didn't yell. I just stood there, bleeding on the inside. She left that night, quietly, like a ghost. But the damage stayed. It crept into everything. The way I looked at my phone, the way I avoided restaurants we loved, the way silence settled heavier than it used to. I wanted to move on. I tried. But betrayal is a shadow. It clings to your heels. A month passed, then 2. I didn't speak to her. I kept to myself, worked, went home, repeated. Until one day I saw her again, in the most unexpected place imaginable. It was supposed to be a normal Tuesday. I had a dentist appointment after work, nothing exciting. Just one of those days where you wake up, check off the boxes, and move along. I hadn't thought about Emily much that week, at least not consciously. I was trying to rebuild myself, piece by piece, without looking back. After the appointment, I stopped by the pharmacy next door to pick up toothpaste and allergy meds. That's where I saw her, in the waiting area, alone, pale. At first, I wasn't sure. Her hair was pulled back, her clothes wrinkled. She looked thinner, tired. But it was her. I could have turned around, I should have. But something rooted me to the spot. Her eyes lifted, locked onto mine. "Jake," she said, barely above a whisper. She stood, swayed a little, then reached out for the wall. I didn't expect... "What happened to you?" I asked before I could stop myself. She shook her head slowly. "I passed out at work. They sent me here for tests. They think it's stress-related. I haven't been sleeping much." I should have walked away. I had every reason. But seeing her like that, fragile, uncertain, my anger gave way to something else. Not forgiveness, just pause. "I'll sit with you until someone comes," I said against my better judgment. We didn't talk at first. She fidgeted with the corner of her sleeve. I kept my eyes on the floor. "I didn't think you'd ever speak to me again," she said after a while. "I didn't plan to." She nodded. "I don't blame you." Moments passed. Then a nurse called her name. She looked at me, unsure. "I'll wait," I said quietly. She smiled, the smallest one, and followed the nurse inside. I sat there, confused, angry at myself. Why was I still tangled in this? Why couldn't I just let her fade into the background of my life? 40 minutes later, she came out holding a discharge paper. She looked shaken. "They want me to reduce my workload. Said my body's under too much strain." I didn't ask what was causing it. I didn't need to. "Do you need a ride?" I asked. She blinked. "You'd do that for me?" "I didn't say I forgive you," I replied, "but I'm not going to leave you like this." The drive was quiet. She directed me to a small apartment complex, not the one we'd shared. I pulled up outside, turned off the engine. "I haven't told anyone about what happened," she said. "With Mark?" "With everything. I left the firm. I couldn't be around him anymore." I looked at her. Her eyes were rimmed red. "Did he break it off?" "I did," she said softly. "He was married." "Of course he was." "I never wanted to be the other woman," she continued. "But that's what I became. I hurt you. I hurt myself." There was a long silence between us. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because I don't want you to think I got away with it. I didn't. I'm paying for it every day." I nodded once. "I hope you find peace, Emily. I really do. But I can't carry your guilt for you." She opened the door, stepped out. "Thank you for the ride, Jake." I drove away without looking back. That should have been the end. It felt like one. But life doesn't always close chapters cleanly. 2 weeks later, I was having lunch with my sister downtown when it happened. We were sitting outside, eating sandwiches, enjoying the sunshine. A few tables over, someone called my name. Jake? I turned. It was Emily, again. Only this time, she wasn't alone. Her mother was with her, and they were arguing. She looked startled to see me. Her mother turned, then raised her voice. Don't you dare blame your mistakes on him. Jake didn't ruin your life. You did. People at nearby tables looked over. My sister froze mid-bite. Emily's face crumpled. You don't understand. He made me feel small, like I wasn't enough. I stood. Emily, stop. She spun on me. No, you don't get to look like the hero. You never saw me. Not really. You wanted perfect. I couldn't be perfect. I never asked for perfect, I said, my voice low. I asked for honesty. Her mother grabbed her arm, tried to calm her. But Emily pulled away. You think I wanted to destroy everything? I was lost, and you, she pointed at me, tears streaming. You just stood there and watched it happen. I felt every eye on me. My chest tightened. I didn't yell. I didn't defend myself. I just took a deep breath. I'm sorry you're hurting, I said quietly. But I won't be your scapegoat. And with that, I walked away. My sister followed, her hand on my back. You okay? She asked as we rounded the corner. I don't know, I said. But I'm done being the villain in her story. The encounter stuck with me for days. Not because of the public embarrassment, but because I finally saw the truth. Emily wasn't evil. She was broken. She made choices that hurt others and herself. But none of that gave her the right to rewrite our story into something it wasn't. I had my faults. I worked long hours sometimes. I forgot date nights, left socks on the floor. But I loved her. I was loyal. I was present. She couldn't say the same. A week after the incident downtown, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. But I knew the handwriting. Jake, I know you'll probably never want to hear from me again. I wouldn't blame you, but I needed to write this. Needed to put it all down, even if you never read it. I wasn't fair to you. I blamed you because it was easier than looking at myself. You gave me more than I deserved, and I threw it away. I'm getting help. I'm seeing someone, a therapist, I mean. I want to understand why I let myself fall so far. Why I hurt the one person who truly loved me. You were never the problem. I was. I hope someday you find someone who sees you for the man you are. Steadfast, patient, kind. Thank you for everything you gave me. And I'm sorry for everything I took. Emily. I read it once, folded it, put it in a drawer. I didn't cry, I didn't smile, I just sat with it. I was healing. Not quickly, not easily, but I was. Some nights were still hard. Some memories still stung. But they didn't control me anymore. That fall, I started volunteering at a youth center. It gave me purpose, a reason to get up. I met people who'd been through worse and still found ways to be kind, to believe in tomorrow. Emily faded into the background. Occasionally, her name came up through mutual friends. But I didn't seek updates. I didn't need them. I had learned that letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. It's choosing peace over punishment. It's saying, this happened to me, but it doesn't define me. And that's what I chose. When you're ready, I'll tell you how it all ended. What happened when I finally faced her one last time, not in pain or anger, but with clarity. When I chose myself for the first time in a long time. Months passed, seasons changed, and slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Or maybe someone new entirely. Not the man I was before Emily, not the man shattered by her betrayal, but someone who had survived something and come out the other side quieter, but stronger. I wasn't dating, I wasn't looking, I was just living. One peaceful day at a time. My world had become smaller, simpler. Books, coffee, long walks, the occasional laughter with friends, and for once that was enough. But life has a way of circling back. even when you think you've turned the page. It was a Saturday morning. I had just finished restocking the pantry and was grabbing groceries when I ran into Mia, Emily's old coworker and friend. We hadn't spoken since everything happened. She approached me gently. "Hey, Jake." I gave her a cautious smile. "Hey, Mia." We stood by the fruit section, the air heavy with unspoken things. "I hope it's okay that I say this," she began, "but I think you should know Emily's in the hospital." My stomach dropped. "Is she okay?" "She collapsed at work. They think it was her heart. Stress-induced arrhythmia. She's stable, but they're keeping her for a few days." I didn't say anything at first. Part of me wanted to walk away, to protect the calm I'd finally found. But another part, the part that once loved her deeply, couldn't ignore it. "Which hospital?" I asked quietly. She gave me the name. I went the next day. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and overcooked food. I hated it immediately, but I kept walking. Her room was on the third floor. I stood at the door for a moment before gently knocking. She looked up from her bed, startled. Her hair was tied back messily, and an IV line ran from her arm to a slow dripping bag. Her face was thinner, older somehow. Life had worn her down. "Jake," she said, her voice barely more than air. I stepped inside, unsure why I was even there. Closure? Compassion? Habit? "I heard what happened," I said. "Just wanted to see if you were okay." She smiled faintly. Still stubbornly alive, it seems. There was a long pause, the kind that used to be filled with unspoken connection. Now it just hung there, hollow. "You didn't have to. Come," she added. "I know." She reached for a water cup with a shaky hand. I instinctively stepped forward to help, then stopped myself. She noticed. "You're different," she said. "Yeah," I replied. "So are you." She looked away. "They said it was from everything I've been bottling up. Stress, shame, regret. It just caught up with me." I sat in the chair by the window, arms crossed. "You've been punishing yourself?" She nodded. "In more ways than one." I looked at her, really looked. Not with anger, not with hope, just with clarity. "You always said you felt unseen," I said. "Like you were disappearing inside our relationship." She nodded again. "I think I see now how you were hurting," I continued. "But Emily, you still had a choice. You could have talked to me. You could have told me the truth. Instead, you created a second life and invited someone else into it." "I know," she said, tears in her eyes. "And I lost the one person who really knew me." "I thought I knew you," I said softly. "But maybe I only knew the version you let me see." Silence stretched between us. "I'm not here to forgive you," I added. "And I'm not here to hurt you either. I just needed to see with my own eyes that you're okay." She nodded, wiping her cheek. "I'm working on myself," she said. "I've been going to therapy. I'm trying to be better." "I hope you are," I said. "Not for me, for you." A nurse walked in, checked her monitors, then left quietly. Emily looked at me. "Do you think you'll ever be able to trust again?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "I don't know," I said. "But I do know I won't let what happened here define my ability to love, just like I won't let it break me." She smiled through her tears. "You really are a good man, Jake." I stood. "Maybe. But I'm also a man who knows when to walk away." She reached out. I didn't take her hand, but I didn't flinch either. "Goodbye, Emily." She whispered it back. "Goodbye, Jake." I walked out of that room and didn't look back. It rained that afternoon. Softly, like the sky was trying to cleanse everything. I walked without an umbrella, letting it soak my jacket, my hair. I felt clean. Empty, maybe, but in a good way. Like space had opened up inside me for something new. I kept living, slowly and patiently. And one day, I met someone at a bookstore. She laughed at a joke I made about self-help titles, and it wasn't Emily's laugh. It was different, warm in its own way. We talked, then had coffee, then dinner. And you know what? I didn't tell her everything right away. I didn't unload the heartbreak or the betrayal. I let her get to know the man I was now. Not the version broken by someone else's choices, but the man who chose peace over bitterness. She asked me once, weeks later, what I'd learned from my last relationship. I told her the truth. That love without honesty is just decoration, and that losing someone who betrays you isn't the tragedy. It's the first step to finding yourself again. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe it's another heartbreak. Maybe it's a quiet, lasting love. But either way, I know who I am now. I'm not the man who was left behind. I'm the man who walked away with dignity, with strength, and with nothing left to prove. And that's enough. That's more than enough.